My grandma died when I was 8 years old. Well, technically she wasn't my grandma. She was my mother's aunt, my actual grandma's older sister. But she was the only grandma I knew as a child. My real grandma lived too far away and we weren't very close. So, Nana Edna was my only grandma. Right before my birth, my mother moved Nana into our house so she could take care of her. Otherwise, she would be put in a mental institution because of her dementia. My mom never thought twice. She prepared room for Edna. A lovely nursery that was meant for me turned into a bedroom for a mentally deranged old woman. And my little cradle was placed in a big and empty room across the hall from my parents' bedroom. 2 years later, they bring another poor little child into that room. My sister. I wasn't alone anymore, but still was too far away from my mother. I felt like my place was taken by this elderly woman who never even looked at me. And she was mean to my mom. She would scream and swear and throw things, so I started to fear her from early on. But I was tough. I never cried for my mama. I was never upset by her disregard. I loved her, but lost any hope on ever having an ordinary mother. I was okay without bedtime stories, drawing, or cooking with her. I didn't need her. But my little sister did. She was just a baby full of love, warmth, and sweetness, and all she needed is her mother's arms around her when she was falling asleep. She craved love and affection and couldn't understand why everybody around her was so cold. And she suffered quietly, like a pure angel. Only her drawings were showing how much she wanted kisses, hugs, and warm words. And it broke my heart. I despised my mother and hated Nana. And Nana hated everybody around her. She didn't know who my mother was. She didn't realize that we were her family. She was always calling us terrible names and demanding to leave her alone. She was confused about her own age, about who we were, about the house we lived in. Every day she was running from room to room, looking for her own mother, or her husband, or, sometimes, her baby.
I know, where's my baby? Where is the baby? Where do you hide him? Where's my boy? Tell me, where's my boy?
Auntie, you never had a baby.
Shut up, you filthy little bitch!
One time, my mom asked me to help her serve a table in Nana's room. She gave me a little teapot and sent me upstairs. Nana sat in her chair, looked sad and lost. I felt sorry for her. For the first time in my life, I wanted to be like my mom. I wanted to help, because I was a good child. She asked me about her mother. She asked me if I could call her, so I told her the truth.
She died a long time ago.
You little piece of crap! How dare you! How dare you! I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna rip your fucking head off!
She beat me really hard that day. Nana's death wasn't easy. After her stroke, she suffered for days. She wasn't sleeping. She just screamed and called for Jesus. Our house was filled with soul-reaping wails and strong smell of medicine and urine and filth. The moment she died, I was home alone. Dad took my little sister out of the town, away from hell, as he said. And my mom was somewhere in the garden, looking after her roses. And it was impossibly hot that day, and the smell in the house was unbearable. But I wasn't allowed outside. I was supposed to watch Nana. There was no need for me to sit in her room, but I had to go there from time to time to check if she was still breathing. At that point, she was already in coma. She was just laying there, in a little nursery, in silence. I was downstairs when her agony began. And I don't know why, but she was screaming. I jumped up and for some reason rushed to her, not really realizing what words exactly she was screaming. My name. She was screaming my name. She never knew who I was. She never called anybody by their names. I don't even think she knew her own name. But she sure as hell knew mine. I was so scared and confused by her screams that I completely forgot that I was supposed to call my mom if something unusual would happen to Nana. I ran upstairs. I was going to run to her room, but in a hole of the second floor, I froze. My paralyzed, dying grandmother, who was in a coma for a couple of days, were standing in the hallway.
Jessie, little girl. Jessie, come with me. Come with me, Jessie, come with me. Come.
Her black mouth moved viciously, repeating the same words again and again. She was barking my name out like a crazy dog. Her grayish face didn't seem alive. Her eyes sunk into her eye sockets, which made her look dead. But she was standing there on her feet. I felt like my little heart exploded and went completely silent in my chest. I could feel all the warmth leaving me in 1 second, as if she was taking my life from me. As if it was me who was dying, not her. The next thing I remember, I was running through the garden, past the peach trees and roses, screaming for my mother. She and some of our neighbors rushed to the house, and I went the opposite direction, to the woods. I was shocked to the point when I had no thoughts in my head. I was just walking, scared beyond belief. Two hours later, local rangers found me and bring me back to my mother. She was beside herself with anger. Right away, she accused me of hurting my grandma somehow. I was still shaken by the event, so I couldn't argue. Neighbors and rangers tried to defend me, saying that it was impossible for an 8-year-old girl to do such thing to an old lady. What thing? By the time my mom and the neighbors came home that afternoon, my grandma wasn't upstairs anymore. And she wasn't dying anymore. She was dead. She was laying downstairs in a hole, and it was clear that she fell from the stairs, but it was impossible for someone who was paralyzed. For years, my mom actually thought that I dragged my grandma from her bed and pushed her down the stairs. No wonder we never got close. But I couldn't care less. I gave up on my mother's love long time ago. At least, she turned her attention to my little sister, and it was the best part. Still, I can't understand one thing. Nana fell from the stairs because she tried to chase me? Hey, you've made it! Was it scary at all? I don't know about you guys, but my grandma traumatized me for life, I swear. But now you know a little bit more about me and my lovely family, and I feel like it's important because the story about my messed up childhood explains a lot, I guess. I don't know. Actually, a couple of years later, my sister messed with the Ouija board and Nana's demonic spirit, I suppose, and that was an experience. I'm not sure I'm ready to talk about it. But it all in the past, thank God. Grandma is resting in peace, and I'm not afraid anymore. And I hope you feel safe, and I hope you find my story interesting, so make sure to share it with your best friend. Because, I don't know, I would share the fear. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to Good Chill Studio. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!